Gerald Celente is the publisher of Trends Journal and founder of the Trends Research Institute. He's my go-to man for trends, economic and sometimes political. And he joins us for the very first time on the mother of all talk shows this evening. Gerald, it's an honor to have you with us. I've followed you for a very long time. I know we'll mainly talk about the economy, but if you'll permit me a political question, and feel free to decline to answer it. When Hillary Clinton said this week that Donald Trump will not be president of the United States in 2024, do you think she had some inside knowledge, or is she reading the runes? And if she is reading the runes, do you read them the same way?
Well, why believe anything Hillary Clinton would say, number one? And number two, being that you have that great hat on, I figure I better put mine on too.
That is a beautiful hat, Gerald. It's beautiful, man.
This hat was my father's, may his soul rest in peace. And my grandfather brought it back from Italy in 1957, from Avellino in Italy. So anyway, if you have your hat on.
No, keep it on, please. Keep it.
I gotta
it's
have
a battle
mine
of the
on.
hats.
All right.
Yeah.
So, it's who knows, what's going on with Trump. And I have to tell you, when you look at the polls, and by the way, I'm a political atheist. I don't, and the whole system to me is a corrupt system. And, they're murderers and thieves, by their deeds you shall know them. And you mentioned a lot of them as I was waiting to go on the air. And so we were the first magazine in May of 2016 to call Trump a winner. And so Clinton hates Trump, and she's going to do everything she can to destroy him. But there's also the feeling in America that most of the people are disgusted with the two parties as well. And nothing's going to change as long as the, as I call them, Republicans and Democrats are still in power.
A phrase is born. Do you think Bobby Kennedy could maybe kick that trend? He seems, well, almost saintly by comparison.
If you go back to my podcast going back into December, I said that the best ticket in America would be RFK Jr. and Judge Andrew Napolitano. And I've been saying RFK Jr. now since then. And today he's supposed to officially announce it. Yes, I think he could win it. I mean, think about it. This is a guy whose uncle was assassinated, the president of the United States. His father was assassinated. You think this guy has feelings and emotions that are different than anybody on the planet? I did a talk for Ron Paul, it was called The War on Us, back in 2021 in DC. And I was the speaker. I was the speaker just before RFK Jr. And as he walked off the stage and with almost, crying, so emotionally about it, he said, "I will fight to my death for freedom." And I believe him, and the people, I think he could win. But again, when you look at the media and the way that they're saying that he's running, I think I have an article right over here, actually, one of them. Yeah, I do. I think this is it. Yeah. This is from the New York Times. They call themselves the paper of record. I call them the toilet paper of record. This is on page A18, buried in the back of the paper. Kennedy Jr., Fauci critic, files for run for president. What the hell do I care if he's a Fauci critic? Is that a headline for? So what I'm saying to you, George, is that they're going to do everything they can to discredit him and keep the establishment in place, because all these little lowlives, I call them prostitutes, media whores that get paid to put out by their corporate pimps and their government whoremasters, just keep bending down and sucking up to the powers in charge, and that's all they're going to continue to support. And they will attack anybody outside the club.
It's the dictatorship of the prevailing orthodoxy, isn't it? And as Dr. Johnson said, that's the grimmest dictatorship of them all. And that was true when the media was dominated by the toilet paper rag you've just held up there. But it has been true in this social media age also, where anyone outside of the prevailing orthodoxy must be crushed, falsely labeled, algorithmically strangled.
How dare you not believe the crap that I'm shoving down your throat? If you don't believe the crap that I'm shoving down your throat, that's misinformation. Remember, when you get on an airplane, put on that mask. But when you eat and drink, you can take it off, because COVID knows when you're eating and drinking, and it won't bother you. You do what I tell you. Close down your businesses. Hey, but you can leave the liquor stores open because we make a lot of tax money from those liquors. And when we open those restaurants up, when you walk in, you put on that mask. When you sit down, you can take it off and eat, because COVID does not go at table length. And it knows when you're eating and drinking. So you do what I tell you. And stand 1 meter apart, because the wind blows exactly in straight lines, 1 meter apart. It doesn't go up, doesn't go down. So you do what I tell you. That is America. That is Europe. That is China. The Chinese way you must obey. That's what has happened. Look, Italy was the first country to lock down after China. And then one after another. And they call it a pandemic. Everybody's calling it a pandemic. Here's the data. I just did this a couple of days ago. In the United States, worldwide, 6,882,000 deaths worldwide. That's out of 8 billion people, which equals 0.09% of the world's population. In other words, 99.91% of the people, it's fine. Oh, and who died from this? People with type 2 diabetics, obesity, respiratory ailments, 2.3 pre-existing comorbidities. This COVID lockdown has done incalculable damage economically, spiritually, physically, mentally. The suicide rates off the charts. Crime escalating everywhere. As I say, when people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. Our system of trend forecasting is called globalnomic, making connections between different fields. You're going to see an economic collapse, the likes of which we've never seen before. I mentioned about the COVID war. You're not coming to work at home. Oh, and the geeks were the first ones to do that. Oh, and boy, did they benefit from it too, the high-tech industry. Oh yeah, we're ordering from home, we're Zooming from home, we're working from home, we're learning from home. Oh, their stocks boomed. Okay, now people are home week after week, month after month after month after month. They're saying, I've been commuting an hour and a half each way to work, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. All right. So come in to work 2 or 3 days a week. The office occupancy rate in the United States, top 10 cities, is 49%. All these huge office buildings are empty. I just came back from Chicago on Sunday. I was there for a couple of days. Beautiful town. Lived there for 6 years. The restaurants on the beautiful area with the water in front of it and everything. Lunchtime, nobody's sitting outside. You know why? No one's going to lunch. They're not going to work. We are going to see an office building bust. The Silicon Valley Bank bust is just the beginning. You have, I think it's about $20 trillion worth of loans in the whole commercial real estate sector. So now people aren't coming back to work. Let's say I had 10 floors of a building. I only need 2 anymore. How are the people that own these office buildings going to pay their loans? They're not. But don't worry about it, because one of your questions is what's going to be the next war? As I say, when all else fails, they take you to war. Hey, you like the Great Depression? Followed by World War II. Hey, you like the dot-com bust? Followed by the War on Terror. We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden, get her alive. And 88% of the people swallowed the crap coming out of the mouth of a little boy with a pair of cojones smaller than a mothball, a daddy's boy born on third base, thought he had a home run, George W. Bush. They're going to do it again. And they're doing it already. They've gotten the Western people to hate Russia. Again, when I was a little kid, they had us hiding under desks in case an atom bomb went off because of the Soviet Union. The people will follow like that.
Gerald, I'm almost speechless by your eloquence, and there's so much that we could follow up from that. Maybe another time. Let me turn to what I intended to interview you about. It is the dollar. Since Bretton Woods, the whole basis of the dollar as a reserve currency has been predicated upon oil being traded in dollars. This has fallen off a cliff so suddenly. If you look at the numbers, and I got them from you, between 2021 and 2023, the accelerated pace at which people were abandoning the dollar monopoly has become so dramatic that if you express it in a graph form, it looks like the dollar is plummeting. How quickly do you see a day of reckoning for the dollar as the world's reserve currency?
All right, let's go back and look at it. You mentioned Bretton Woods. And then something happened in 1970, I think it's 71 or 72. They took America off the gold standard. That was the beginning of the end. You were also talking about how the countries dislike America. They are tired of America's economic hegemony and its military hegemony. They've had it. You just saw Lula go into China, and the president of Brazil saying that every day, he said, I go to sleep and I wonder, why are we trading in dollars? They've had enough. So now one of the covers of the Trends Journal, I think it was April 4th, was Death of the Dollar. It's not going to happen overnight, but there are always wild cards that you can't predict. And one of them is, and you've mentioned it, is if they take us off the petrodollar. And again, that happened also in the 70s. So if they take us off the petrodollar, it's over. It's over. And now I want to make this very clear. The reason the dollar is strong is because United States interest rates are high. So it's a good bet to bet on the dollar when you have these high interest rates. And now on May 3rd, the bet on the street, 90% is that they're going to raise it another 25 basis points, the interest rates. That will keep the dollar strong for a while. But the end has happened. It's going to be a steady decline. The world has had enough of America. As a Napolitano born in the Bronx, 1946, right at the height of America after the war, I am heartbroken to see how low this country has fallen. You were mentioning how you love America and so many things of it. You mentioned the music. The music of America is the soul of America. From ragtime to swing, to R&B, to rock and roll, to Motown. And now it's no town. It's one bad rap. You look at the style, the dignity of my parents' generation when they came to this country, when it was the land of opportunity, and they were laborers. They worked in fish stores. And you see the pictures of their wedding and how elegant they looked. When this country had style, grace, and it was the land of opportunity. Now it's the land of the bigs. You can't make this stuff up. What's that big management firm, asset management firm? BlackRock? What's the guy's name that runs it? Fink. All right?
I don't know.
We've been finked.
Wow. Gerald Celente, I'm sure that I join every person watching this and saying, I hope you come back very soon. In fact, you and I should be a double act.
Yep.
We'll hit the road as a double act.
Thank you for what you do.
God bless you.
I very much appreciate being on. Thank you.
God bless you, and look after your dad's hat. I hope my son looks after my hat as you have looked after that.